Welcome back and welcome if you're new here, friends. I can't wait to share today's topic for this video with you all, which is all about my favorite Hermès boutique in Paris. And that is the Sevres boutique, and why out of the 3 Paris locations, this one is my favorite one. I'll be sharing my experience shopping at the different Hermès boutiques across France and Paris, why I particularly like the Sevres boutique, and I'll show you some bags that I was able to get from the boutique which are in this box. And lastly, my experience with working and trying to establish a relationship with the essays at these boutiques. So let's get into it. So I've been traveling to Paris or somewhere in France almost every year for the past 5 to 6 years, and my first trip being over a decade ago. I even had my wedding in Paris, so you can see that I love visiting France any chance I can get. And every time I have the opportunity to travel to France, I make it a point to stop by the local Hermès boutique in that local city. Let's start with my experience shopping at the different Hermès boutique across France and Paris. And of course, we should start with the flagship store, which is FSH, one that you should definitely try to visit. It's the flagship, as you all know, but it can get a bit overwhelming. The space itself, it's beautiful, and you'll notice the historical details throughout the building, from the original tiles to the architectural element that tells you the story of Hermès' rich heritage. But because it's the flagship store, it is crowded and busy, even when it's not at the peak season for travel to France. At the FSH boutique, you can't shop with the same essay from one department to the next, whereas the Sevres boutique, you can buy different items from multiple departments with the same essay, which makes establishing a relationship with the essay challenging. And so let's talk a little bit more about that in later part of this video. That said, I still enjoy going into FSH boutique to browse, and I've mentioned in my last story that I've gotten a Cali from this boutique, so it's always worth a visit. But because it's crowded and I feel that it's a little less inviting, I prefer to shop at the Sevres location. Now, with their third Paris location, I don't have much experience with the George V boutique. I've only been in there a couple of times and haven't made any purchases at that location. It's definitely on the smaller side, and because I prefer the openness and my past experience at the Sevres location, I haven't felt a strong pull to shop at the George V boutique. But I'd love to hear from you if you've had any experiences at the George V boutique, and share them in the comment section below. I'd also like to share with you my shopping experience outside of Paris. I traveled to the south of France many years ago, and we were going from city to city along the coast. I visited the Hermès boutique there, and these are my thoughts on the boutiques I visited while I was in the region. So Nice and Cannes were my least favorite out of the ones I visited in this region. With Nice, they barely had any interesting pieces, and it was on the much smaller side, and so I was only there for a little while and moved on to other boutiques. So with Cannes, I was waiting for an essay to help me, and while I was waiting, I met this nice lady who was also on holiday in the region. She was told that there was a shipment of bags that came in earlier that day, and so she was waiting for her essay to take her to the back to show her bags that she could potentially purchase. When the essay that I was assigned to, we met him, he wasn't friendly, he was dismissive, and made me feel like I was wasting his time. And when I asked about bags, he pretty much told me there were no bags available, not even a non-quota bag. And so my experience just working with that particular essay made me feel not so great, so I didn't particularly like my experience at Cannes. Saint-Tropez, on the other hand, is quite nice because of the experience that I had with the particular essay. I was able to purchase a dress and some houseware items, and she was so much more nicer, and we even exchanged information afterwards, and she let me know that if I were to come back to the area that I could message her and she'll help me with a bag next time I'm there. Monaco was also nice too. I was able to work with one particular essay through the entire boutique, and she showed me several items that I was able to purchase, so it made the shopping experience quite lovely. So these are some of my experiences shopping at the Hermès boutique across France and Monaco and in that region. Now let's focus on the Sevres boutique specifically and why it stands out as my favorite boutique. So the Sevres Paris boutique is my favorite because of two reasons: the aesthetics and layout of the boutique, and then two, the shopping experience I've had, especially the success I've had in getting multiple bags from the boutique without going through the leather appointment system. The Sevres boutique is open, beautifully designed, and more modern. As you approach the main wooden staircase leading to the lower floors, you can appreciate the openness and brightness of the boutique. And the colorful artwork on the wall add a vibrant touch. And as you make your way to the lower floor, you can see the infamous wooden structure that frames a section of the boutique, and the overall space feels more warmer and inviting in my opinion. So the ambiance of the boutique can enhance the shopping experience, especially when it's paired with the success with getting multiple bags from this boutique. As for my experience at the Sevres boutique, I haven't had much luck securing a leather appointment through the Hermès online system, but that hasn't stopped me from getting several bags from the Sevres boutique over the years. So one of the most exciting moments was when I received my very first Kelly bag, and if you haven't seen that video where I shared the full story of how I got the Kelly at the Sevres boutique, be sure to check it out, and I'll link it in my description below. For the other times I was offered a bag from the boutique, the process was a little bit different. I was approached by an essay who offered to help me, and we would go from department to department picking out different items. Eventually, when the essay would ask if there's anything else, I'd mention that I was interested in a bag, and if it would even be possible for me to get one. I'd share that my dream bag is a Kelly, and I also let them know that I'd be happy with a non-quota bag like the mini Roulis. And that's how I was able to purchase one of my very first Hermès bags in Paris, which is this mini Roulis right here. And a couple years later, I had a similar experience when I was offered this Rose Sakura mini Evelyn. And for both of these bags, both of the essay escorted me to a private room and offered these bags without having the formal leather appointment. There was also a time that my husband had a bit of luck at the Sevres boutique himself. He once walked in on his own and inquired about a bag for me, and the essay offered him a her bag without also going through the leather appointment system. So we ultimately declined on the her bag, but I find that getting opportunities to be offered a bag at the Sevres boutique is a little bit more frequent than my other experiences at the other boutiques. As I mentioned earlier in the video, one of the benefits of shopping at the Sevres boutique is that you can shop across different departments with the same essay, unlike the FSH boutique, where you're usually passed from person to person as you move from the different departments. I like the continuity of shopping with that same person And at the Sevres boutique, the overall shopping experience feels a little more pleasant because you can start to build a rapport with your essay, and you don't have to start over with someone each time you switch to a different department. And so that said, establishing a long-term relationship at the Paris boutique can still be challenging. While the Sevres might give you a bit more continuity with the same essay during that specific visit, it doesn't necessarily make building a long-term relationship any easier. And that's okay with me, because they look at your general love for the brand over the years, not whether you have shopped with that particular essay for multiple visits. So while I really appreciate being able to work with just one essay during a visit, I haven't met someone with whom that relationship has continued long term. So for example, when I purchased the mini Roulis, I thought the essay and I really hit it off. She gave me her contact information, but when I reached back out to her the following year to let her know that I'd be visiting, she said she wasn't available, and I haven't reached back out after that. With my most recent visit in Paris, I did meet an essay who seemed genuinely interested in building a long-term relationship, regardless of whether I'm local or not. So we did exchange contact information, and even after I returned to the States, we stayed in touch with a few quick texts. So stay tuned. I'll definitely report back in the future videos to let you know if I'm able to continue to work with that particular essay. So fingers crossed. Thank you so much for watching today's video on why the Sevres boutique is one of my favorite Hermès locations in Paris. I'd love to hear about your own experiences on shopping at the Paris Hermès boutiques, and which French Hermès boutique is your favorite. So let's chat in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, check out my Instagram on posts similar to what you see on my videos. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.